A good man died a couple days ago. Let's try to honor his memory in episode 101 of the Talk Through of Shiren the Wanderer. Hi there, Wanderoos and Wanderettes. My name is Doofy, and I just took a lengthy nap. I feel much better. Still a little bit out of it. You never really recover from a midnight shift until a couple days later. But I feel a lot better than I did when I recorded that episode this morning. I haven't listened to it yet. I'm almost afraid to. I'm afraid it's just going to be a bunch of incoherent rambling. I do remember making a somewhat offensive curse mom impression, and I apologize for that. I know not all curse moms live in trailer parks and drink boxes of wine and eat Little Caesars, but I'll try to make it up. If I ever meet another curse mom, I'll try to give her a more posh personality just to counterbalance that horrible impression. Anyway, this episode, I wanted to talk about something a little more serious. Since this run, well, I don't know. This run doesn't seem to be very difficult so far. Let's see. I'm still pretty over leveled, huh? Level. Oh, just as I say that. Did anybody see that Pants Weasel? Anybody? Nope. Let's just pretend it never happened. Never happened. Before that, I was saying this run is fairly easy so far. It's been extremely generous. I've ID'd a ton of stuff. My sword and shield are plenty powerful. I'm gonna get a strengthening jar eventually because I've narrowed down the 3 possibilities. So I think I'm going to put down this no bottom jar, because if I run into a shop and I'm able to steal whatever I want out of the shop, there's a potential for this run just to be so easy that it's not even interesting to play. And I know I said I wouldn't constrain myself, so I am going to use a strengthening jar when I find one. I'm going to get... Oh my goodness. I thought the nap had helped me. Why do I even check for traps? I am going to use a strengthening jar, and I'm using melting jar, so this isn't going to be a really item constrained run. But the possibility of being able to just steal tons of awesome loot from a shop with that, I don't know if it's a bottomless jar, it might be a storehouse jar. Oh, there is an easy way to check. There's the trick that Lena told me. If you have your storehouse completely full and you put an item into a storehouse jar, it'll just pop back out. So then you know, oh, it's a storehouse jar, and you know the next disappearing jar is going to be a bottomless jar. But there's another way you can do it. I don't do this because it's pretty much cheating. You're taking advantage of something outside of this game. But if you put something in a jar and it disappears, if you save and then you go to time attack takes you to your storehouse. So you can look in your storehouse and see if that item went into your storehouse and identify it as a storehouse jar. So that's kind of cheating. I don't do it, but if you're really desperate to ID a bottomless jar, you can do that. Alright, let me take care of this booty battler. Ooh, another one. Oh, got a little bit of side cheek action there. Alright, I will say the obligatory dead ass. Rust trap, eh? I should try out my 3K. Here, let me take care of Rocky Holder here. And then, I don't really care if my equipment rusts, because I've got pretty good equipment. Oh, that bronze shield wasn't in Dulu. Let's go ahead and trigger this rust trap. Ugh. Yes, I know you can stand on it and trigger it. Oh my goodness. I just like stepping up and stepping it back on because of the gambling aspect. But, oh, alright. So actually, this is a pitcher's armband. Go ahead and name that. Oh, what was I even talking about? Oh, yeah, if you're desperate, those are a couple tricks to ID a jar where the item disappears. I'm not doing that, but that could have been a bottomless jar. And chances are, if it was, I'd be able to steal a ton of stuff from a shop, and that would make this run ludicrously easy. So I want it to be the typical winning phase final puzzle run. That's what I'm trying to do. My average phase final puzzle run. And already it's a little bit easier than average. So I'm trying to adjust the difficulty just a little bit. Tweak it. But if you are playing this for real and you really want to win the dungeon, you should not put down any disappearing jars because those can make a run really easy. Alright, this run, I wanted to talk about something a little serious. A couple days ago, Satoru Iwata passed away, or died. I don't like that euphemism, passed away. He died. And he was definitely a special person. And he was a great president. I don't know how he was in person. I don't know his personality. But he was definitely a special person, so I'm going to talk about that a little bit. I'm going to swing the stabbing and see if it's maybe recovery. Yep, recovery. I do remember the name I used for recovery was 100% carbs, I believe. Name that. So the main reason that Iwata is special to me is not for his really major successes. Major successes, Kirby, Smash Brothers, and DS and Wii. I mean, those are huge, and he's largely responsible for a lot of those. Him and Sakurai, of course, for Kirby and Smash Brothers. But his first major hit as an executive producer, and he started out as a programmer. I'll talk about that later on too, but he's a unique guy. He knew the whole business from the top to the bottom. He was I think I'm going to just attack this. So far, nothing too bad. Oh no! Well, that'll make this run more difficult. Definitely a monster house now. Although, at least I'm getting some use out of it. Made me eat the Herb of Victory. Hey! Aw, see that Lilac was looking out for me. He's like, I know there's a tank behind me. I want you to eat this Herb of Victory so you'll be okay. Thanks, Lilac. You're just trying to help me out. But a monster house is going to be a lot more trouble now without that Herb of Victory. Maybe I'll find another one. The main reason that Iwata is special to me is Adventures of Lolo. He's an executive producer on the NES game Adventures of Lolo. Crescent Arm will actually come in handy. I'm almost tempted to equip it because there's tanks on this floor, but my sword is pretty good. I think I can two-hit these tanks, so they shouldn't be able to do that much damage. I could wait, but I'll go ahead and attack this guy. Hopefully I don't miss. Alright, that could have been dangerous. I could have got my... Oh, and that could have been dangerous. Whew! If that mine had gone off, I don't know. I'm gonna use up my Caro. Alright, now this is what I like. Now I'm feeling the tension. This is my favorite part of Face Final Puzzle, the middle. Where, you know, the outcome is uncertain, and you don't know death is around every corner. I'm still a little over-leveled. Oh my god, why am I hitting... Oh yeah! The Lilac made me read the scroll of traps. That's another good tip. Don't carry around bad scrolls out of jars on the floor with Lilacs. I'm making a lot of silly mistakes. So, there's tons of traps on the ground. The Adventures of Lolo is a game that came out, I think, in the late 80s. It was one of the first games I played in which you had to use your brain to get through the game. Before that, the verbs I was using in NES games were mainly like fighting verbs, you know, shoot, punch, stab, kill, destroy. Those were the verbs you used. You ran into an enemy and you just destroyed it. And the Adventures of Lolo, you used your brain. You confined the enemy, you moved around the enemy, you used the enemy to block other enemies. And I guess in Zelda and Metroid, you were exploring and all the violence was sort of secondary to exploration. But Adventures of Lolo kind of took that further. So, remember, and I step on a pitfall trap. That'd be evil. That's the kind of thing they do. Put a pitfall trap next to a rice ball. Make some room. I think I'm going to get rid of this pitcher's armband. Because I know myself well. If you are really conscientious and you know what equipment you have on all the time and you have a good memory, pitcher's armbands are awesome. You can throw dragon herbs, you can throw meat, you can do all sorts of stuff and shoot arrows. You can get yourself out of a big monster house with a lot of enemies with a pitcher's armband. But my memory is horrible. I'm going to put it on, I'm going to forget, and I'm going to do something incredibly dumb because I have done it over and over. So I just don't use pitcher's armbands. I know it's a little scary because I'm an air traffic controller and you think my memory would be awesome. But I actually have a very poor memory. I use a lot of pen and paper pad management to reinforce my poor memory. Oh, that was nice. I thought the purple slime would actually immediately rust one of my things if I could, my shield, where I could unequip it. But he waited for me. What a cool guy. And you waited for me, Fluffy Bunny. That's nice of you. Alright. Oh, hey, and you waited for me, Mr. Tank. Yeah, this floor could have been a lot worse than it is. Alright. Do I let the tank destroy the owl? No. Do I let the tank destroy the Fluffy Bunny? Tempting. But in a dark room? No. Not gonna be greedy. There's so many times when I got greedy, and I'm like, I'm gonna let this tank level up, and then I'm gonna use my items to... Oh! Frickin' A. Pitfall trap. I get greedy, I let a tank level up, and then it kills another enemy after it levels up, and it's like a cranky tank, and I have nothing that would possibly let me deal with the cranky tank. So, just gonna be nice and calm and conservative. Kill these tanks with the Staff of Sloth. So, Adventures of Lolo had a big impact on me as a kid because it taught me that you don't have to kill all the enemies. You can just use your brain. And I really loved that game. I loved all 3 games. The 3rd game introduced a little bit of combat with boss battles, but for the most part, you're just using your brain. Those games are difficult, just like this game, Shiren is difficult, but they are accessible, and I feel like that was one of the hallmarks of Iwata's reign as president and his philosophy as a game designer. Definitely with the DS and the Wii, accessibility was a big thing. But, you know, Adventures of Lolo is not difficult to play. You do have to run away from those little spinny armadillo guys, so there's a little bit of real-time action, but for the most part, if you can move around Lolo and press a single button, you can play Adventures of Lolo, just like Shiren the Wanderer. It's difficult. I have an empty Cairo. I think I'm just going to keep it. It's kind of like a security blanket. Just to remind me of the good old days when I actually had some presses in my Cairo. So Shiren the Wanderer is accessible. If you can press a button and move around a character on the D-pad, you can play Shiren the Wanderer. It doesn't require a lot of manual dexterity like a first-person shooter, a fighter, a lot of the other more hardcore genres. But this is definitely a hardcore game when it comes to difficulty and using your brain, even though I don't use my brain that much. So yeah, Iwata was about accessibility, and even if you thought the DS and Wii were pieces of junk, I did not feel that way, but I know a lot of hardcore gamers did. They thought they were kind of gimmicky kids' toys. They brought together families, and a lot of people who are in their teens and early 20s now had a lot of happy moments with their family playing the Wii. And I know even I had a good time playing bowling and tennis with my mother-in-law. And if any system that gets you to enjoy spending time with your mother-in-law, that's a pretty special invention. So he brought a lot of joy to a lot of families, and he was a great executive. Like I said, he started out as a programmer. There's a lot of stories about, well, this is a good chance to actually give you a quick lesson. When you fight level 2 spiky bombs, remember level 1 spiky bombs you want to do around 15 HP, because once you do 40, they're going to blow around 40. So sometimes you'll see me doing the high teens, and I unequip my sword for a level 1 spiky bomb, because I don't want to do 40 damage, because it might blow. Level 1 spiky bombs. Level 2 spiky bombs blow at around 64-ish damage. So as long as you're doing damage in the 20s, you're good. Once you start hitting the 30s, you're in the danger zone. So just a practical tip for dealing with spiky bombs. What was I talking about? Oh yeah. So he brought families together. He brought a lot of joy to people. He was a programmer. I'll just go over a couple of the amazing stories about Iwata. This is when Iwata was president of Nintendo Japan, or the whole Nintendo. There was a time when the Earthbound developers were having trouble with the code. The game wouldn't run smoothly. Earthbound on the Super Nintendo. Kind of a cult classic. Iwata actually shut himself in a room for a month, and he recoded the entire game so it ran smoothly. This is when he's president of Nintendo. How ridiculous is that? Iwata also bug checked Super Smash Bros. Melee for the GameCube. And again, that's ridiculous for the president of the company to do the work of his employees. because he was a programmer first. I talked about flatter hierarchies in games and companies a long time ago. That is a flat hierarchy, when the boss of all bosses actually sees his employees struggling on something, on a project, and he actually does the work and helps them out. That is just ridiculous. And if you've ever, I'm a huge fan of the Iwata Asks sections on the Nintendo website, where he actually interviews the developers and teams working on certain games. If you read those are really good. He asks questions that a real gamer would ask, and they're not just those kind of puffball, annoying PR questions. I don't need this katana. Wait a sec, I'm gonna use this katana on this Lilac. Alright, I think I can one-hit it now. Sweet. Yeah, I learned from my lessons. Alright, unequip. I can test all these, see if they're cursed. Nope. Alright, I think I got a Master Sword somewhere. Let's see if this is cursed too. This is what I'm saving to stick into a strengthening jar if I find one. Alright, nothing cursed. Sweet. But yeah, there are tons of stories about Iwata helping out with the actual programming of games, which is pretty cool, I think. He had some failures, definitely. The 3DS lost Nintendo money for the first time ever. The Wii U is kind of a flop, let's be honest. But remember what he did when that happened? He took a 50% pay cut, twice! Once for the 3DS, once for the Wii U. How many CEOs, not just in Japan, in the whole world, how many CEOs will take responsibility for the failure of their company? None! What do? They ruin the company, they fire people, and then they float away on a little golden parachute to inexplicably get hired as the CEO of another company. It's rare to find a person like Iwata. He really personifies a lot of the reasons I love classic Japanese gaming. He was accessible, but he had a lot of depth. He was compassionate, and most importantly, he was fun. If you watch Nintendo Directs, that goofy sense of fun really comes across. So I just wanted to take a few minutes this episode to say goodbye and thank you to Satoru Iwata. He brought joy to millions of people. He introduced this hobby we love to millions of people, and he will be missed. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and save. And next episode, I'll go back to talking about life lessons I learned in Shiren the Wanderer. See you all then. Goodbye. The Adventures of Lolo. Such a long time ago. Kirby and Smash, they will live on tomorrow. Still bringing joy after your death. We will smile through our sorrow. Hands on controllers, covered in tears, honoring your memory. Goodbye, Mr. Iwata.